Hi, fellow travelers. You know, sometimes we're craving for a change. We don't know what's missing, but we're craving for that little detail, that little piece, and we just don't know what it is. A couple of weeks ago, I met a man who's cycling the world. And when we chatted, I noticed that it's the same with him. He had his job, he had his leisure activities, but there was just this tiny little thing missing. So he went on a journey. I've been on the road for almost 2 years now, and within these 2 years, I just realized that the most important thing is meeting people and listening to their stories. So with this new thing called I Am Nomad, I just want to give a voice to other travelers, and I want other travelers to tell their stories. I'm very excited to have Marc as my first guest, and it's so cool that he's sharing his unique travel story. As this is my first try of an interview, I have to admit that I was quite overwhelmed. So I'm very sorry for the overexposure, but I guess it's just learning by doing. Let's just jump into the interview with Marc. He has traveled 40,000 kilometers already, and when I met him, we were in Turkey, in Lüleburgaz. When I met him there, he said that this place was kind of like his second home.
My name is Marc. I'm 32 years old. I'm from Germany, and I'm traveling around the world with the bicycle at the moment. This is like my second home on the road. When the people ask you about my home, I usually say my home is where my tent is, because at the moment I don't have a fixed home, I don't have a fixed place. Sometimes I stay longer at places, but then I'm just a guest. Here it's like everyone can be like he is, so that's why I really enjoy it here.
When did it all start? Like, why is your bike your home?
I can say I've got two passions. The one passion is traveling, and the other passion is doing sports. I can say before I started this journey for some years, I was doing some races even. So I know a lot of cyclists who start cycling with a trip like that. But I'm coming from like the other side, from the opposite side. Since I'm a small child, I practicing cycling. But the last years when I started doing races, the cycling, it felt more like after some time like a second job, because every day I had to check about my training, about my training plan, about the nutrition, and I was really skinny and really trained and really ambitious. This journey gave me the joy of cycling back.
To travel a little bit back in time, when you were back at home doing your races, you had your job on one hand and doing the races at the same time?
Yes,
or,
yeah, it was both. I did both.
And can I ask you what your occupation was, what your job was?
I worked in a sports market. I was kind of the manager there, and often in the evening I did like a few extra kilometers to go training, and after that I went home eating, and often maybe 1 hour of doing nothing or a little bit watching a movie, and after that I went sleeping. But
you liked your job, and you were not that happy with the professional cycling, but kind of?
It's like when you are in really good shape and you see you can go on a good position in races, then it can be a lot of fun. But I also had some days when I was not so good, and I was just in the back, and then I was just suffering all the race, and then it was not so much fun. I was thinking a lot why I'm doing that for running behind the field.
So the decision to live the life you're living right now is more about the cycling, and not because you hated your job or you I don't know, were suffering at home, or?
I would say it was more a mix. I'm really curious about seeing new places and discovering new places, see the different cultures. I had this plan for a long time. When I was younger, I was reading some books about travelers and cycling travelers, and I was reading about their experience and how interesting it is, because the bicycle, it's like a door opener. They see you with a bicycle and they are curious. They are coming and want to ask you where you're from, where you're going, do you need anything. The best vehicle to get in contact with the people, to get in touch with the people.
Yeah, I think so too. But back at home or back in Germany, you don't have a flat anymore or apartment or anything? You're just...
No, I left some stuff at my family's home, at my parents' home. but the rest I quit everything. I want to be free because I don't know where I am after 1 year. So that's why I decided just quit everything, let everything behind me, and just start as an open-end journey.
Do you have a final destination?
There's no final destination. I like to say the only plan I have is that I don't have a plan. For example, I'm now 2 years on the road, and the direct way from here is 2,000 kilometers away from home. So I didn't get so far the last 2 years. But yeah, I've been in a lot of places. I visited 25 countries now, especially here in the Middle East. I've been in 9 Arabic countries. I've been in Iran also, Iraq. Here in the Middle East I have been like everywhere. Sometimes it's only by recommendation that I end up in a place or in a country also, because anyone is telling me about that place. And so that's why I really like this way of traveling without any plan. Having a destination, it ruins a bit the traveling, because then you are just running after running to your destination and you don't look beside. You have to make detours to find a really beautiful place.
Do you have a favorite travel story? Like, do you have a story that's like when someone asks you, oh, what's your favorite travel story? Is there one thing that just comes to your head?
Of course. First, I want to say the hospitality in a lot of countries is a booster for a lot of good stories. I will tell you the story from Kurdistan, Iraq. I was there in April 2022, and on one evening I was searching for a nice place for camping, and I saw this fire where 2 boys were sitting next to the fire, and so we were sitting together next to the fire. And then after some time I thought, okay, now it's time for preparing my place for the night, pitching up my tent. And during that time I left my mobile phone and some other stuff near to the fireplace. And when I was going to my bicycle and when I came back, the boys disappeared and my phone also disappeared.
It was just gone.
Yeah,
boys were gone and phone was gone.
Yeah, the guys were gone and my phone was also gone. First I was thinking maybe I put it anywhere under something, but also the next morning I couldn't find the phone. So I went to the police and I met a really nice officer who was also able to speak English, so we were able to communicate. The boys told me their names before, so I could remember their names, and the town was not so big. So we made some investigations, went to a coffee shop, and the guy there recognized who it was. So, and on the next day I was thinking about, okay, let's move around a bit, because I had to wait and it was weekend there, so there was nothing to do.
So you didn't have your phone at that moment?
No,
they still had it?
They just knew the name of the guy. So I was going around, and after some time the police was coming with a car and showed me my phone, and I was really happy.
They were like passing and were like, hey,
here's your phone. And I was really happy. So I went to the police station, but there they said, I'm sorry, we have to wait. You have to wait because the court is after the weekend and we cannot do anything for you now. And then they said, now you're free. You can go wherever I want. Just come back on Monday.
For court? For
the court, yeah. In the evening, I was invited by a nice family. Then after some time, one of the family member came and said, hey, are you the guy with the stolen phone?
In a random place.
Yeah,
she asked like, are you the guy with the phone?
Yeah, are you the guy with the phone? And I said, where do you know it from? Because I didn't tell them my story. And then they said, oh, there's an article in the online newspaper of the local newspaper, and they shared an article about a German cyclist whose phone got stolen. And I was like, okay, really interesting. And after that time, the phone of my friend rang all the time. A lot of people were calling, hey, we would like to apologize for the phone and for the incident.
So strangers called, like, yes, please apologize.
Yes,
we're so
please
sorry.
Apologize, because the Kurdish people there in North Iraq, they are like really honest, and usually something like that never happened. But yeah, then I had to wait for some days, and then I went to the court. And after the court, they came, oh, the local telecommunication company is also here. They would like to give you a gift.
So the local telecommunication company heard of your story online?
The local telecommunication company came and they gave me a new iPhone as a gift. At that time, it was the newest.
They were just like, I'm so sorry for your loss, like yes, the loss of your phone, here's a new iPhone.
Yes, it was like that. Maybe I can.
this is the present from the
telecommunication company. Yeah. They gave me this iPhone as a gift. At that time it was the newest model. Really crazy, and they apologized a lot and said sorry for that, and it's really unusual that something like that happened.
How did the story end? You just said thank you for the phone and continued your travels, or?
I tried to continue my travel, but I got just 1 hour, and after that the police called me back. And I was wondering what is now, because I just wanted to continue and go. But then they said the local TV station is also here, and they also would like to make an interview with you. And so I even ended up with this story in the evening news, in the most important television channel.
Did you dress up for this? Like, did you have proper clothes?
I only had my normal bicycle clothes, but it was no problem for them. So they made some shots and made some videos from me with the bicycle, with the new phone. The next day it started to get really, really crazy, because it felt like everyone has seen this news in the evening news.
Was it like a famous television?
Yeah, it was the most common television the most common television there.
And you were like on 8 p.m. news or something?
So on the next day it started to get really crazy, because everyone saw it in the news. And on the first day, especially around this town, everyone stopped me and wanted to take selfie with me, and everyone asked me about the incidents of the phone, and everyone asked me about that. So on the first day I could cycle sometimes 1 kilometer, and the next guy wanted to take a photo with me. Or sometimes the cars just passed by and they took their phone in the hand and showed me the phone and asked me mobile, and I said yeah that's me, and they were like, yeah, nice.
So you were actually, or maybe you still are, the most famous bicycle traveler of Kurdistan, Iraq.
Yeah, probably. Even now, when I returned there 1 year after that incident, some people talked about the German cyclist whose phone got stolen.
So what a pleasure. Thank you for talking to me.
So if you go to Kurdistan, ask the people about the incidents with
Marc
the phone.
is my friend.
Yes, say you are my friend, and maybe they will also help you a lot.
Thank you for sharing this story. It started so bad for you. I mean, losing your phone while being on the road traveling is, at least for me, it's one of the worst things, because all your contact, I don't know, bank, whatever, you know what to do with the phone.
Yeah, that is the problem, yeah.
And then it's gone, and in the end, you're like a very famous person.
Yes.
And you have a new phone.
Every time when anything bad happened, I ended up with a good story.
Would you say that this is a lesson of life you learned on your road, or is there something like a lesson or a major learning?
I think this is the major lesson. In the media you get a lot of bad news from everywhere, that the people are stealing and that bad things happen, because the news normally, unfortunately, only show the bad news. But I learned that there are good people everywhere. It doesn't matter where you get. And I had a feeling sometimes the more I get away from Germany and from Europe, the better the people will get. Even in a lot of countries where you don't have such a good image about the people, where you think the people are
like countries where we also have many prejudice, against them.
Very often I learned that the prejudices are very often so wrong. The biggest learning for me was also that the people everywhere are more thinking about society, about the other people, about their family, and because in Europe the people are more like, often you don't know anything about your neighbors.
Yes, you live like door next to door, and you don't know who lives there.
I think this is a big problem, and I learned that we have to share more, that we have to be more polite, and I think often it's very good just to talk with a person, or just to have some discussion with the person. I think a lot of people would be more happy just to have anyone who can talk with. So my character and my mindset changed a lot during the last 2 years. It's more important what comes from your heart. And often I had this bad feeling because I got invited by some poor people. They were only guest workers. They also shared their meal with me, and they gave me something, some food, gave me a shelter. Sometimes I was thinking about if it's wrong or right, but...
What's your conclusion?
I shouldn't judge about them. Maybe they are don't think about the money they lost. Maybe they think more, maybe I made them more happy with my appearance, that they can hear my story, that they share time with me. You can make the people also happy not with money or not with anything else. Sometimes it's only the story you share.
Thank you very much for sharing all your stories.
Yeah.
I have 2 more questions for you.
Yeah, of course.
And I think one of the questions is one that both of the questions are questions I would like to ask everyone I'm gonna talk to. Can you tell me your 3 most important items? If you had to pick 3 items, what's the most important for you?
I would say number 1, in winter I really appreciate it to have a really good sleeping bag. For number 2, I have a special item for cyclists.
Oh.
What's really important for me, carry a small chain link with you. I really appreciate it when my chain broke and it was also cold and I couldn't do anything with my fingers. I just used this quick link, put the chain together and I could just continue.
What's the 3rd one?
I would also say for the gear and for the bicycle, often you don't need so much spare parts. If there's a problem, there's also a way to fix it often. So I would say also don't think so much about your bicycle in advance. Yeah. Just go and there's a problem, there's a solution.
That's actually a perfect thing for my last question. Like, is there also anything you would like to spread into the world, or if there is maybe a person who would like to start traveling but is unsure, or is there anything you would like to spread to the people?
In Turkish they say starting is the half of the way. When I'm telling my story, the people are coming, yes, I would like to travel, but, and then everyone has another excuse. One is saying, I would like to, but my job, the money, my passport, my family, everyone has another excuse. But in my opinion, it's important to start. Maybe you don't have to start a 2-year travel, maybe just 1 week. My most important suggestion is starting. Just go for it. Don't listen too much to your excuses. At home it can be also dangerous, so just go for it.
So true. Thank you very much, Marc.
Yeah, thank you for having me here.
Safe travels.
Yeah.
And I hope you will have a lot of tailwinds. Thanks for watching this very first interview. I hope you enjoyed it. So what do you think about Marc's decision to live a life on the road? Like, could you imagine doing this, or are you doing it already? I'm curious to read your thoughts about our conversation and the interview itself. And also, if you have any questions for Marc regarding his journey or his motivation, you can just leave him a message on Instagram. It's bikeaway91, so just leave him a message. And that's it for today. I'm saying cheerio, goodbye, salut and adios, and I'll see you next time.